I've been journeying through the underworld, and I won't go through every experience right now, but there was a particular one that stood out. And in this particular experience, which started as a dream and quickly transitioned, I was wandering through many rooms in the underworld, and it slowly became stranger and stranger, which is very normal for those of you who travel in the spirit world will understand. And I eventually came across a girl who I went to school with, and I recognized her as Hades, the current god of the underworld, and I do say current. And as it is in most spiritual experiences, there is a strangeness to them, meaning they are often symbolic, not literal. So what I say from now on, understand that it probably does not mean what it literally means. It is symbolic of something else. And she was confused that I could identify her as Hades, and I explained to her that the reason I knew she was Hades was because I was the god of the underworld before her. You see, I had left in this experience, apparently. I'm not going to make the claim that this is literal, once again. That I had left because I was concerned about what condition humanity was in. And I am concerned, to be fair. And so I understand that this, once again, may not be literal. Of course, I'm of the perspective that gods aren't actually that special. And I think I've actually talked about that earlier. That there's really just souls in the universe. Souls at different levels of maturity. And as I continued to wander through the underworld, I eventually came upon a room in which the culture of the next age was being produced. And it was the beauty of our age is being made in factories right now. And it was, I wouldn't say worrying, but there was the sense that humanity has checked out of the creative process. And to the left-hand side of the room was a window that was open, and it was overlooking an alleyway. It was dark. And I walked up and I stood in the window because it was a large window, and there was no pane there. I could have fallen down into the alleyway below, and it was somewhat frightening, but I did it anyways. And inside of this alleyway, there was suspended sort of almost like clothes hung in a closet, but it was an animatronic torso. And I recognized it as something that I knew. Someone that I knew of sorts. And I was deeply saddened because it was dead. And it had this button on its, I think it was its left side. And as I was looking at it and I was mourning its loss, it woke up. It came back to life. And some of you may recognize a trope here. I don't know if it's a trope, but something in spirituality where there's this idea of bringing something back to life by engaging with it. And I think the word automaton is used. But anyways, I don't want to get too distracted on that. And if you're well studied, you know what I'm talking about. And this automaton or animatronic, I'm not sure what to call it, robotic figure, torso, with a face, of course, and arms, but no legs, presses this button on its left side, and it comes to life. And it begins to tell me about the next stage of humanity. About how the next age of human progress will be known as the age that the craftsman dies. The age that craftsmanship dies. And he told me that I needed to do something about it. And I had a half an hour to an hour long conversation with this thing, going very in deep about the next stage, and I will try to summarize that for you. You see, when we build something with our hands, we put a soul in it. That is our job as humans. Now, you don't think of that as our job as humans because for the past 10,000 years, we have been essentially subsistence farmers that only in the last 200 years, a sliver of time, have advanced into what I would like to label as the post-labor age, where human labor really isn't that valuable. And we are quickly descending into that age. But understand this. That's not what humanity is. Humanity is much older than this. And has gone through many cycles of progress and destruction. And I could go into the reasons why that is, but for now I won't. And humanity, your job as a soul incarnate in this world is to put life into things. And there was a long conversation with this animatronic individual about how this understanding of the purpose of humanity is not well known, and very few people understand it, and that we are entering an age where people will collectively forget this. The purpose of humanity, when they are in their best position, not when they are subsistence farmers, not when they are tribal people, and not when they are living off the land, the best existence for humanity is to be the force which puts the soul into the world. To be a craftsman. And this being explained to me that as humanity gets more detached from the actual production of an item. Okay, so let's talk about pottery. If you want to make ceramics, let's assume that you're using a potter's wheel. You have to put a lot of hands-on effort into the clay. Every decision you make influences its outcome. It is an expression of your ability to form dirt, clay, mud into something that is beautiful. You're putting the soul into the item. That is craftsmanship. And as we get into the age, there's still some craftsmanship in the sense that we create the machines which create the stuff. But slowly, We're losing that. And if the next age is to be a good age, it'll be an age where man's effort is in the art of the thing, not in the raw labor of the thing. But you must have that personal connection to it. And I don't know what my role is in this. I don't know how I'm supposed to do anything about it, but I'm talking about it. And it's sometimes a hard thing to bring a message through, especially from the underworld. Most people never go there, ever, until they die. And even then, sometimes they don't. So I suppose that's one element of it. And I've been thinking really hard about this for a while as to how to do that, how to bring the beauty back into the world. When we enter a post-labor age where machines can do everything that you can do, and this will happen, this is what this thing is telling me, or has told me in that experience, that is what our age will be known for, that the age that the craftsman dies, which means machines will do everything. Then, the only thing left is for us to make the choice to put the effort into the design, put the effort into the, little things, our environment, the world that surrounds us, in order to make it beautiful. And I will quote, this thing was angry with me. It said, at some point you're just going to have to say, fuck it, make beautiful. That's the exact quote. That at some point I'm going to have to stop worrying about, things that get in the way. And just not care. Just say fuck it. Not care about all the detractors. Just say fuck it, make beautiful. And I don't know what that means in real application. I know to some degree of okay, I get part of it. I'm getting it. But I also feel like this is something that people everywhere are going to have to make the decision. And you're not going to understand this now. But when you watch and you see the future transpire and come into form by machine and not by human, you will understand what I mean by this.